So, I mean, it's those little things. To me, when people do that, if I tell you A, but when you repeat it, you put your part into it and don't repeat what I said, and that's a form of manipulation and it's a form of lying. So, I mean, I don't know. I got issues with stuff like that. Serious issues. It's no different to me than when I'm having a conversation and I may say, well, women need to carry themselves more in a modest way, not always using vulgarity, dressing in a more modest way without their whole body being out. And then the other person, well, men need to do such and such. Well, we're not talking about men. We're talking about women right now. People that do that have never dealt with who they really are. They are deceptive and they possible liars. Because that's a form of dishonesty when you do that.
And you're shifting blame.
You're not, that's for sure, because you're definitely not taking any on your own.
So you're shifting blame. So we in a real bad situation.
I was going to say a real FUS.
Yeah, we in a real bad situation. However, amongst being in this bad situation, it could be quickly rectified. It could be quickly rectified. And here's how. Just as simple as this. All thing we have to do is agree upon one thing. One thing. Do we want our babies to continue to be struggling?
No, not
And
this
that
kind of struggle.
exactly.
Not
Okay,
this kind of struggle.
now here's the thing though. Here's the thing. Is that we have to okay, here we go. Now, we've invented the .com, the digital signal, the bandwidth, the camera, the digital camera, text messaging, video conferencing. What are we waiting on? What are we waiting on? Here's the issue now. There is no investment. We don't invest back into the children. Okay? Now, and since we don't invest back into the children, that much means that we don't see no value in them. Okay?
I see that both ways. Some of that is a lack of value in oneself to be able to see value in someone else. Because
Agreed.
when you have a child that's 6, and then you have a sister that's 9, your mother is 30, your grandmother is 42, your great grandmother is 62, and your great great grandmother is still alive, and y'all all living together. And there's been nothing but generational ignorance along the way. And when learning has transpired, there's so much hate, frustration, and guilt and shame that is not passed down the way it should be. If you messed up, you messed up. You apologize to your kids. You know what? I really messed up. I should have done it this way. I apologize, but I want to help you to do it better. How many people would be willing to do that? Kids need to know that you are not infallible. They need to hear you say, in many cases, that you did it wrong. But oftentimes you did what you did out of ignorance. Period. However, even some of your ignorance was your own fault because you could have known, you could have found out. There's just so much that's lacking. I agree with that statement as it was, as it is, the lack of value. However, I just believe it goes much further than just not seeing it in the kid. I don't think people see it in themselves. And if you can't see certain values in yourself or the reality of that value, you have a hard time seeing it in a child, especially when your mother or father, well, your mother, your itch ass just like your daddy. You ain't it. And you ain't never gonna be. I mean, you can only tell somebody that so long before they start believing it. True enough, not every child does, but enough do to know that it can be a problem. You can't just consistently be evil and hateful. And then a person, some of that is what they have been exposed to. They decide that they're not going to go along with what's being told to them. That's their decision. But how many people at young ages have that? It's not common. It's not rare. It's just not common. I mean, Motown is evidence of that. But you talking about a generation of poor people, but there was love in the house, who grew up around when we needed each other and we helped each other. And then my generation was probably like the last ones to really see that on a regular basis. And then you start growing up with your children and the world has changed. Well, now how the world is clearer because you have so many things going on you got to protect your child from, and now you out here trying to do it by yourself. And to try to maintain. Go ahead.
People got it. We got too many options.
Excuse me. Thank you.
It's
You're
too
right.
many options. Okay.
Have those options always existed?
Yes, but
Yeah. Thank you.
But here's the catch. We didn't have access to them.
Sure? Are you sure?
Positive, we didn't.
I beg to differ.
Well,
to
here
some degree.
we didn't have technology. We had technology, but we didn't have it in this magnitude. To whereas
Okay.
everything is accessible 24 hours at any given time.
Okay.
Okay. Our TV went off at 2:00 in the morning.
12 at one point for me.
You know what I mean? So I remember 2:00. You can wake up if you fell asleep with the TV on. It's just snow now. Now you wake up. You can watch anything you want at any given time, and it's no filter. When I found out what what Grand Theft Auto was years ago, I'm sitting over a young lady's house and I'm watching her children play this game. And I'm seeing all the shit that is going on in this game. And I'm like, do you know your kid what kind of game they playing? They all in the titty bars and, getting points for running old people over, all kind of diabolical shit, right? And she like, I ain't know that game had all that in there. I'm like, and it's in every household.
But what I can't understand is when you tell somebody that and they still allow the game to be played and you wonder why you got problems. This is what your child is getting. And I worked at a store once and the people were talking about it. And because I had learned about it, because what you were saying, it gets worse. At a certain levels, they raping and murdering and all kind of stuff.
Yes.
And when I told the person that, they were like, what? Oh, I'm not buying that. And I don't understand that. When you try to tell your kids not to get that for your grandkids, people and murder and mayhem in their mind.
Exactly.
Because it makes you wonder, why would even somebody create a game like that?
That's all I'm saying. Why would somebody create a game like that?
Yeah, you know, the Bible talks about men, creator of evil things. There is no logical reason why that game should even have that, but you don't see it in the beginning. It's kind of simple, but at every level, the violence increases. So you got your kid playing this all day long, several days a week, several months of the year, several years. They playing this from when they were a teenager to what you think you gonna get? Crazy.
Thank you.
And unfortunately, that player doesn't come back again. They dead for real.
Exactly. Now I want to show you this, okay? Let me move it. Check it out now. This goes along with what we talking about. Okay. Let me stop this here. This goes along exactly what we talking about with us. Okay. All right. My nephew be saying that now. Every time he be saying, me and him be doing stuff when he be over here. After we get finished doing that, he be hearing, because he always hear me say, all right. He be like, all right, all right.
But that's proof on how what we do, they're watching.
Yeah, absolutely.
And thankfully, that's what you're saying instead of something else, because he picked that up too.
Oh, he done picked it up. He done picked it up. I heard him say, oh shit, one day. Oh shit. I'm like, what? He gonna start laughing.
Better get him now so he won't say it at the wrong time.
Thank you. I'll be on him.
Because they know when to say it. They just might say it at the wrong time.
I'll be on him. All right, here. Let's see here. Let's check this out now. Check this shit out. Black toddlers flash guns at kids' birthday party.
Smoke, no smoke. Kids! Yeah! Yeah!
Oh my goodness.
Y'all gotta cut this out.
That's so ignorant.
Now shut the front door and I won't say nothing else. Show me a video of white people doing this. I'll show you.
No smoke, no smoke. Kids!
Gun.
Yeah!
Gun.
Yeah!
Well, I've seen white people doing that for the longest. Not quite that. Well, yes, I have, young like that.
Yeah!
Now I'm giving him.
Okay, there go one. Here go another one. Have you seen this one?
No.
You ain't seen the pole dancing?
No.
Can you see it?
Yes.
Yeah, they got their door. This is a pole dancing class for little kids now. They say it's for exercise.
Well, only in this much. There is exercise because you can't, anybody can't do that pole because you have to have upper body strength. But
Agreed.
I would not do this. I wouldn't. That's for you to be much older. And the classes have existed for a minute because I knew a young lady that did she danced. And I suggested to her, you ought to teach it. She never did it, but these other people started doing it. Some of the actresses started doing it, making bank off of that. And they trying to make it, at one point, they were talking about trying to make it an Olympic sport.
Mm-hmm. Well, see, I don't have a problem with it.
But I do. That's improper for the children because of the connotations that go along with it.
Agree, but here's my thing. Okay, if we're gonna do that, here's why I don't have a problem with it. Because if we're gonna do that, let's also put them in a cooking class.
Again, but we know it's not gonna run in the manner that it should be. And the negative connotations that go along with this, girl, this is what you gotta do to get paid. You know, I don't like the mentality that normally
I make $1,500 a night.
Yeah, yeah. And if you got to do this, do it. Girl, it ain't nothing. I'm not saying that those young ladies are thinking that way because I would be wrong to say that. But unfortunately, the connotations that goes with the perception have not changed. So I don't think that they should be promoting that at this point. I don't. If you're going to do that, you wait till the kids are a little bit older so you could explain the whole spectrum of that. And know why you are doing it. Well, I mean, they can learn how to do exercise in some other kind of way. Why it's got to be on the pole? Just saying. It's not the issue of the pole. I don't have a problem with. My problem is with the connotations that go with it, and the perception that goes with it, and the mentality that has been bred from it. Because all the ladies in there, it was a whole lot of people like the character in that movie. That Lisa Ray played, you know, a lot of ladies have gone through college doing that, and they were not whores. No different than women who have done escorts, but they were not whores. They did not get involved in it on a sexual level. It does happen. But why even put yourself in a situation where that's the expectation? because for the most part, there are no good parts to being on no pole. It's a physical exploitation. And I just don't see how you have real value in yourself, because you can tell me if I'm wrong, because I'm not a man. But there's a certain perception that goes when you see women doing that. And you don't
Well,
have the
yeah,
same respect for them that you may have for the young lady who doesn't do that, doesn't curse, dresses modestly.
those are
It is
fun
what it
girls.
is.
Those are fun girls. That's what they are. They for fun. You
And
know.
now you got to explain who you really are when you're not on that pole. You have to get away from that whole environment. You can't interact with the girls, the people, nobody when you leave. You got to do the Lisa Ray. Go home. If you're going to school, go to school. But, I mean, if a guy was a gigolo and putting himself through school, wouldn't it be a big deal? But unfortunately, yeah, it's double standard, but it is what it is.
Well, see,
So,
and from just me studying, the reason why it's such a double standard is because women put themselves up at a higher moral standard, and so since
well,
they put
even
themselves,
scripturally, we are put at a higher standard. Even the
and,
Bible puts
and,
us at a higher standard.
and there we go. So since you're put at a higher moral standard, then you should be expected to act like that. So and that's where I be with it. You know what I mean? It's like if we expect it to be in such a manner, then why are we going backwards?
Well, I read a quote, and I believe it was Malcolm X that made the comment: if you want to know uh the what's the word he used? But what's going on in a society? If you want to know the state of a society, watch the women. When the women is out of control, when the women are not doing what's the norm or the nature intended, that whole society is messed up. Look at it. Look at this one, and look at
Look
the
at what
women.
we have. We got
Like
chaos.
I said, look at our women, and look at what we're doing. But and I know it's not everybody, and to be honest with you, it's not even the masses.
It's
But
not.
negative
Here's the
attention
problem.
is what gets negativity is what gets the attention. And what it does is, because if you start watching the news, a lot of times they're showing the same thing over and over and over and over again to desensitize you.
From a male's point of view, it's the fact that the good women stand so close to the trashy women, we don't know the difference.
Yeah.
We
What the
want to
old
be
people
able
tell us, birds of a feather flock together.
exactly. So we want to know that this stop. If you are a good woman, stop being so close to the ones that we just want to have fun with. So we will know the difference. And this is my
That is true.
point. You know what I'm saying? And so if you want to be out there like that, at least let the men know that we need to know that we don't want to walk up to every woman and say, "What's going on, ho?" We want to we men do want to respect women.
Okay, Dave Chappelle, if you don't want to be thought of as a hoe, don't wear a hoe uniform.
I mean, so this is where I be at with a lot of things. It's like, okay, well, it's a give and take kind of thing. So, you know what I mean? And then at some point, both gonna have to stop following the devil. And here's what I find fascinating is that black people are always talking about we want somebody God fearing or God fearing this, and we doing all the opposite shit that God says.
Well, for me, this is my take. You should be what you want.
For starters,
You should be what you want. How dare I ask anything of you that I have not done for me?
I mean, really, for real. I mean, and that's pretty much where that, you know what I'm saying? That's where it's like, we got to have some balance here.
Not only balance. Well, we have gotten away from so much. It's nothing wrong that just because you I did what I did, you did what you did. You can't tell me about mine, and I can't tell you about yours. You may be able to give me some suggestions from what you know of what I was doing, and vice versa. But you can't tell me what to do, because I don't know nothing about what you're doing, and you got some degree about how I do what I do. We as people don't stay in our lane. I'm a woman. And like April Mason said, I ain't strong, I'm resilient. I agree with her 1,000%. I'm not a man. I may be able to do some things a man can do, but when a man is around, like she said, risk go limp. Learn how to be who you are and what you are. You'll be surprised at how different you are treated when you act like you're supposed to, and let men be men. Let them be the leaders that the Lord intended. It'll save your life will be so much easier. So much easier. If we did what we were expected to do, we wouldn't have to worry about pedophilia. We wouldn't have to worry about people kidnapping the kids. We wouldn't have to worry about so many of these home invasions from these young people, because mama would have been at home with children. Dad would go out and do and provide for the family. Working at home with kids is way a lot harder than going. You go to work, you do what you got to do, and you come back home. But the woman, if she's doing what she's supposed to be doing, number one, it's cheaper for her not to be working. Homes kids, you got to also you're the manager of the household, you're the manager of the finances, you're the manager of the kids. You got to keep everybody together, and him too. That's a lot of work. But do you know that if that was done in the fashion that it was intended, this conversation wouldn't be needed, because it wouldn't be existing.
Here's the thing right here, is that if you're not willing to, and this is what I find, if you're not willing to say, you want to know what, despite whatever, this person right here is somebody I can really, because really being married really ain't about love. I don't really come to that. It's nothing about love. It's about finding that person when y'all can connect, even though you may be in the Lord's eye married or whatever. But if y'all can connect and make it, that's really what it's about.
But that's love, because if I can't stand you, I can't do that with you.
Well, I mean, but look, I mean, pedophiles love having sex with little kids. You know what I mean? Racist white people love saying nigga. So love is funny. So it's really not love.
Love that was intended, agape love. That's them. That's why the principles of what the Bible says will work for anybody. So if you got two Klansmen together, they both believe in the same thing. They are of the same mind. So it's going to work for them. If you got pedophiles together, they are of the same mind. It's going to work for them.
But that's not love, though. That ain't love.
It's
right?
Their sick version. It's not godly love. No, it's not godly love. That's agape. That's not godly love.
Okay, but you understand what I'm saying, though. Okay,
absolutely do.
Okay, it's not godly love, but that matter. If we go in divorce court or paternity, ain't no God in there.
I'm not disagreeing with you, because we're not supposed to get divorced. So if you do it right the first time, you won't have to.
We not see the thing.
If you do it, and somebody effing around and doing things ain't got no business, hey, bye. Because you don't have to sit there and get hurt and be burned, and horrible things happen to you either.
I have come to a conclusion that monogamy was designed by men to benefit men. Because here's what it does. It was supposed to guarantee that every man could have access to a woman to create him a family. And the reason why I say that now, because I'm looking at what's going on in today's world, and you have a certain percentage of men who are not in relationships, or who are not having sex, who are not even getting looked at. And that kind of hit me like, is monogamy for men?
It's for all of us. We're only supposed to have one.
Well,
hold on. Even though scripturally he allowed them to have concubines and multiple wives. But that it's a point to all of that. It wasn't just because it was okay. But you're not gonna be able to tell me later on that I didn't do A, I didn't do B, I didn't do C. Because now the other part of it is there's order. There has to be order. There's no such thing as mommy, 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 daddy, 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 daddy. So it's mom
Exactly.
and dad. It's mom and dad. What has gone wrong is, think about it. Don't nobody want God in their business. And God is a gentleman, he'll step aside. So if you don't want God in your business, go roll with it. Do you. Do you. There's consequences for you, but do you. And it's not going to work.
Because we all got to pay on the back end, whether we want to realize it or not.
Absolutely. No pun intended. But what I've in conversations, younger women are looking for something different than mature older women. See,
Mm-hmm.
whereas younger women who are considering procreating, physical attraction matters. Older women who don't care about ain't trying to have no babies, physical attraction is not the same necessarily. Say for instance, you might like a certain kind of man, and you may have the physical but the face and ain't have it. But the person is well groomed and they are kind, they are nice, they are gentlemen, they have good conversation, they are knowledgeable. And that removes all of this, because as you grow older, you see from the inside out, not from the outside in, because you're not looking for something that you were looking for when you were 20, trying to procreate. I mean, you trying to find that in a younger man that looks good, because you ain't trying to have no ugly kid. I mean, I'm just being honest with you,
You done died out, huh? You may have to log out and log back in. In the meantime, a little entertainment till she come back.
Got beans and bologna on bread. I got beans and bologna on bread. I got beans and bologna on bread. And I'm happy,
But I'm going to tell you this on the positive side. 20 years ago, that was a good looking man. And had he helped himself up and taken care of himself and not allowed the substances of the world to be control him, and because he's not dumb, he's a fool. He had potential, as he still can have potential if he chooses, and he'll still be Mr. Jones too once he quits doing that. Versus a woman can't come back from that, like not to the same level and frequency as a man because of the double standards. But I mean, I'm just saying. I saw a picture of Witherspoon, the comedian. People were laughing and say he's like one of the Isley brothers. But I had never seen a younger picture of him that looked the way he looked. My gosh. So I mean, you looking for something different when you're young. I would have talked to a John Witherspoon. Hey, Danny Glover. I would have talked to them. I think they just as fine as they can be, personally. But I see more than just the outside.
Let me ask you this, because for whatever reason, I don't know why this is a big issue. Who do you think is more colorist, black men or black women?
Colorless?
As far as colorism. Because I'm always hearing the darker skinned black women say that brothers don't approach them, they don't get that kind of action. And I call bullshit, because I like darker skinned women, and when I approach, they shoot me down.
I think it's a little tit for tat. I really do. And the reason I say that, because I'm limited at what I can say, because I'm a woman and I'm around women. Some of that is race is from slavery. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
fair skinned woman and I tend to like jet black men, but that's inbred from slavery. Whether I wanted it to be that way or not, slavery has something to do with my mentality being like that. Because my father, his face is dark and his hands up to here, but my father looks like a sheet of paper. That's how fair he was. And
That's
my mother just barely brown.
that's interesting that you just said that, because now that you said that, as far as the light skin and then compared to the dark skin, I can believe that that's trained, because of the fact that, and as you're saying, that Freemasonry is big on duality, the white and the dark, the light and the dark. So I can see that.
Yeah,
Because
because I've always, and that's what I've always, um, it's always been dark men, and the darker the better. I see them, but in my mind, they look like kings to me. They
hmm
genuinely look like African kings. Now you
hmm
have to remember but you know me. I'm blacker than thou sometime, and I loved reading all about our history and who we were, and that's what most of us looked like in the beginning. Even as a woman, most people who were fair like me, and I had real long hair and all of that, I didn't like that. I wanted to be like the dark girls because I thought they were prettier than the light skinned girls. I always did. Uh,
But see, the thing is when it comes to the dating, it don't matter if women like you, because if they in their mind not getting approached by the men.
well, see, and the guys that I grew up around, I could not honestly say that was an issue for them. And the reason I said that, because I looked at who they liked, and they ain't care. Now, let me see, girlfriend, brown, kind of dark, but the other girl he really, really liked, light like me, and had the curly hair. I saw them doing whatever they wanted to, and it's probably because of what they grew around. You think about it. That I was not the. It was me. It was me. Then it was about three of us that was fair like me. Most of us had long hair. One had what the world called good hair. But me and the other one that passed away not too long ago were probably the fairest of them. But I never had an issue with it. Our kids, the kids I grew up around, they never made issues because we had a set of twins. The girl was beautiful and she was fair and she could pass. She had freckles and long hair almost down to her rear end, naturally curly hair. Her twin brother, was almost Harold's complexion. Supervisor Harold,
Mm-hmm.
her twin brother was about, but they were twins. Okay, twins. So, and nobody ever thought anything of it other than the fact that the girl, she was and is pretty, and that didn't change. And they had two older siblings, a girl with the boy looked like, and another sister that the pretty girl looked like, and that older sister was absolutely beautiful. Fair skin, pretty girl. Both of the girls were kind of fair, but I don't recall people making an issue of it. But you have to remember, I was before segregation took hold on us.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, should I say integration? I went to all black kindergarten. I went to an all black elementary school. My mom taught at an all black high school. And then I was from a small town. A lot of parents were educators. A lot of the people had grown up with each other, even though their lives went in different ways. There are generations of us who went to this same kindergarten teacher, and I do mean generations. So I came up in a very unique situation, and it was a small town. So knowing each other and stuff, it made a big difference. a big, big difference. Some folks had finances or looked like they had finances, and we didn't make it. I was never taught to make issues or fun of anybody. Shoot. Some of my friends came from the places where they didn't want you going. I'm like, who cares? I like them. They people cool. They tend to have more stuff than us that had two parents that was working. So I just that never was an issue for me. However, I have heard it from people I have been around who did not like their dark skin, and I understood it intellectually, but beyond that, I didn't. But then on the other hand, if you've been told you black and ugly all your life, you start to see a lie. So, and then when you had that athlete who talked about, and I can't remember this guy's name, he's married to a white female, and he talked about Lupita, the girl that was in Wakanda, saying how she was ugly because she was black. And he was dark as my computer. Like, boy, who you talking about? So what you say about your mama? That's slave mentality. That's generational hate that has been passed down. And some of these guys, out of their own ignorance, they marry these other women so their kids won't be as dark and may not have the troubles that they had. There's more to them marrying these folks. But
So, well, if that's the case, what is it when sisters do it? When sisters
I think
decide.
This is what I believe has occurred in some cases. Now, and let me go back a little bit. And this came from a conversation I had. I was talking to a coworker, a white male coworker, and he was naming off some girls he thought was pretty. All of them were darker than me, every last one of them. And then he said, "Oh, and you too?" I said, "Boy, bye. I look like y'all. Y'all ain't paying me no attention, okay? Let's be for real about that." And he started laughing. And then I noticed when I went to Minneapolis, most of the guys that I see, Halle Berry being an exception, and then this one white senator, this black female he married, she's not quite as fair as me, but she could pass. And when I was in Minneapolis, when I saw the mixed couples, the woman she was so dark, if you cut the light off, you wouldn't see her. I believe that those women, in many cases, have been rejected by their own, to the point that this is the person that came to them who treated them the way they wanted to be treated, and it grew. That's what I believe has occurred oftentimes. I could be wrong, never done a study on it, but just based on some conversations that I've heard, I believe oftentimes that has what occurred. Because just like it's an athlete, a big old white guy and his black female, they're married and they're on TikTok or Instagram all the time doing all kind of silly stuff. Yeah, I believe sometimes that's what has occurred. They tried, and don't nobody want to talk.
Well, case for the brothers then. That's the exact same case. It's for a lot of men. They've been rejected by black women.
The only person I can agree with that with is Dennis Rodman. I understand Dennis Rodman, and I believe what he said.
Chad Ochocinco said it. Shannon Sharp said it.
They ain't met the right ones. Ain't no way in heaven. Chad ain't no bad.
It ain't about meeting the right one. Okay?
It gotta be. So Chad is a good looking dude. So
if that's the case, then we can say that for women. It's not about meeting the right one. We can say that for both genders.
I agree with you, but specifically with the dark skinned women, that's why I said that was the case. And with those dark skinned men, light skinned women, plus they got money too, I ain't buying that with them.
Oh, well, let's look at it like this. Some men grow up with obnoxious black mothers and sisters, and they don't want no parts.
Yes, but that's a problem, because you judging me by them. They ain't my fault they assholes. What they got to do with me?
Who else I'm supposed to judge off of?
Hey, you're supposed to learn
But the women I've been around my entire life.
I agree that is definitely. However, you have an opportunity to learn differently. But you know who said something to that effect? Was Wesley Snipes. Something, and I'm not quoting because it's been a long time ago since I heard it, but it was directly from him. So I'll be seriously paraphrasing. But he's married to an Asian, as is Dave Chappelle. I don't know if Dave Chappelle's thought process is the same. But Wesley said something to the effect about, I don't want to hear about my problems when I get home. I don't want to hear that. I already got them, and then I got to hear them from her. Sometimes I just don't want to hear that. So he's with somebody who doesn't